What's up, people? This is Jamal with Basic Gun Mechanics again. I thought I'd just give y'all some of my thoughts, right? I'm not an authoritative figure on anything. But I've been in this gun world for a little bit of time now. I am far from anybody of importance for the most part, right? Just my opinion. So I talked to a lot of gun guys, right, throughout my journey, as an instructor, as a fan, just someone part of this community, right? I love the 2A community. You got a lot of great guys in this community, man. I mean, they just show you so much love and kindness, bro. Like-minded people. You do have your occasional jerks, like others, in other groups as well. It's just part of, human, existence. So, but today I want to kind of share my thoughts on something that I hear a lot of gun guys say a lot. I've been doing martial arts, right? Kung Fu, to be exact, for majority of my life, right? The majority of my life. So I would like to think I'm an expert, at least in that field. And talking with gun guys and stuff, man, we always go over in our minds, what if, right? If something happens, that's why we train. We always train to be ready for what may come, what may happen, what evil might, surface and try to, ruin somebody's day, right? We always, mentally, we train for that, and physically, we train for that. This is why we go out and train at the range, right? However, a lot of gun guys don't necessarily know the laws pertaining to their state, right? I'm here in Florida, and I'm pretty sure, a lot of you guys might know that. Maybe you don't. But I'm here in Florida. And our laws are pretty similar to Texas and Georgia, some of the southern states, So our laws is in place to protect the citizens for the most part, right? If they have to defend themselves. So I'm like, all right, we have these discussions. And I'm like, what do you guys do, like, if you don't have the... I don't want to say access, right? What if you pulling your firearm is not justifiable in that situation? Now what? Like, you have to go hands-on. Like, that, there's no threat in the sense of they don't have a visible weapon. They don't have any thing in their hands in the sense of, a knife, a bat, or anything of that will... potentially cause physical harm or death to somebody, right? So a lot of guys, right? A lot of these guys, man, they are different. They still, in that scenario, right? In that scenario, you're gonna go hands on. They still say, I'm gonna draw my weapon. I'm gonna put lead in these people. I'm going to shoot them. And I'm just like, wait, what? And I'm like, but the scenario is not, you don't have the opportunity to do that because the situation doesn't call for that. Like, you have to go hands on. You got empty hands, right? Like, in that scenario, it is not justifiable for you to pull your firearm. You can't pull a knife. You can't do anything. It'd have been better for them to be like, well, I'll mace them. But a lot of gun guys don't carry mace. I carry mace on me. Yeah, I mean, you see in some of my other, I got a post or whatever, a quick little whatever that it shows my EDC. I carry mace, I carry a knife, and I carry my firearm. You know what I mean? I also I carry a tourniquet too. I just didn't show it. Where I carry that, I have tourniquets in all my vehicles. But anyways, and also my carry bags and stuff. But anyways, I'm just like, but you don't have the jurisdiction or the justification, should I say, to do that, and they still don't care. And what bothers me is they neglect the other part of self-defense is empty hands, right? Like, you have to know at least something to be able to, if you have to go hands-on. I'm not telling anybody to take to learn what I learned, but at least go get some type of hand-to-hand experience, right? Go get taught by somebody who knows some type of self-defense and who know hand-to-hand, right? It makes sense. So I'm like, why don't nobody do that? Well, I ain't gonna say nobody, but a lot of people in the gun community, 2A community, don't do that. They only rely on the shooting capabilities, and that's cool if the threat is at that level. If it's in red or black level, cool. But if it's if it's yellow, like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? Like, you can't sit up there and shoot somebody if they're unarmed. That's not going to be a good day for you in court. And this is where I'll be like, well, I always play scenarios out of my head. Like, what if I can't get to my gun? What if, I'm in a situation where I had to leave my gun in my car because we're in a courthouse or we're in a school grounds or some type of government facility. Like, you cannot have your gun on certain, government properties, if not all government properties. So you can't have it. So what do you do if somebody decide one day to get, they want to get, physical? Like, you don't have that secondary level of protection, right? So hands-on is all you have. So how skilled are you when it comes to hand-to-hand, right? So I'm like, why not learn it? And I talk to a lot of gun guys and stuff like that, man. And I always run these scenarios, by them and stuff, just to see their thought process. And a lot of times these guys don't know what they'll do. They're like, well, I guess I got to fight. But I'm like, why be just skilled in one area when you can be skilled in across the entire spectrum, right? Like, we pay money for medical training, firearms training, a lot of different training, right? We do night vision stuff, and we go and learn how to shoot, learn from snipers, and we do all these great things, you know what I'm saying? Like, survival skills, like learning how to navigate through forestries, and learning how to cook off the land, and learning how to grow our own vegetation, and just live like, and that's like, that's awesome. That's awesome. But then when it comes to hand to hand, it's neglected. No one thinks it's important, but it is. Police can tell you how important it is because they get beat up a lot because they don't take their training serious. Military tell you, yeah, it is important. Even though a lot of times if you're not tier 1 guys, a lot of times that falls by the wayside as well. Then you have security. Security officers who, they too neglect hand to hand. So it's like, like, we shouldn't neglect these things, man. We shouldn't neglect hand to hand because we're walking around majority of the time without our firearm, in the sense of either your job does not allow you to walk around with it on your person. You have to leave it somewhere secure, right? Or, if you have it on you, you're not justified to just pull it because of you're scared or somebody wants to box you up. So you can't do it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that it just bothers me, man. And I'm just like, man, we got to start taking this serious as a community. You know, this is why I train all my clients and, well, let me not say clients. Let me say, well, it's those who take the training seriously and end up being my students, where they end up learning hand to hand with me, learning how to go hands on and possible disarms, and knowing how to defend themselves if they need to, on how to get to their firearm. And I think that's neglected, man, in a lot of areas. You know, how do you fight to the point where I can get space to where I can put my firearm just in case it gets to that level? A lot of people don't know how to do that. I put people in situations a lot just to see if they can get out of it. And a lot of times they flake. Like, they just fail because they don't know what to do. And this is where mind you, this is not even, you know, a stressful situation. This is just me putting you in a situation and saying, hey, can you, you know, get out of this thing? And a lot of times they can't. They're like, I don't know what to do here. That's bad. That's bad. So, anyways, man, I at this point I'm ranting, but I just want to, you know, pretty much put this out there, my thoughts, man, because it bothers me a lot of times, yo. Just people don't take this stuff serious, man. People don't take this stuff serious, bro. Like, you gotta take your hand to hand serious. You need a balance. You need a balance. You gotta be able to train hand to hand and train, you know, firearms. Like, you have to have a balance. You know, it's so important. But anyways, man, I thought I'd just give y'all my thoughts on that. That's been bothering me. I thought I'd just put it out there, man. You know, we gotta take our training seriously, guys, in the 2A community. You know, if you're gonna carry, you gotta have, you know, a retired military vet told me, who was in, you know, special forces. He is a, you know, retired tier 1. He told me, he said, Jamal, you know, people don't take hand to hand seriously. He said that's your first level of defense is awareness. He said, but there's layers of defense that you need to have in place. First and foremost is awareness, situational awareness. He said, then you gotta have a layer of hand to hand to some, you know, to some level, because you might not be able to pull your firearm. He said, then you have another level of possibly, you know, pepper spray or some type of taser, or, you know, even your knife. If you got to pull your blade, then cool. He said, then it's your firearm. That's the last, like, defense. Like, you pull your firearm, that's when just things hit the fan. He said, that's when all that, he said, there's layers, right? There's layers of, you know, defense that people neglect and don't have in place. So, like, when he said that, I'm like, no, he's right. You know, we don't look at it like layers of defense. We look at it as one defense. I got my gun and I'm going to shoot somebody. And that's the wrong mindset, man. But anyways, you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But, man, hey, if you're ever in Florida, you know, reach out to me, man. Reach out to me. I love to train with a lot of you guys. You know, we can go to the range and do some things, and possibly even do some hand-to-hand if that's something you want to do. But yeah, so this is Jamal, man, Basic Gun Mechanics. Hey, man, subscribe, share, like, do all that great stuff, man. Let the algorithm know, you know, I'm here. I'm trying to be a part of this thing, you know, trying to get into people's video feed and things like that, man. So, you know, yeah, man, y'all get at me, man. All right, man, y'all take care. See you on the next one. Remember, everything starts with the basics. I cannot stress that. Everything starts with the basics.